Ladies and gentlemen, teachers, students, and fellow teenagers, over the past decade, platforms like Instagram and TikTok have become central to how we communicate and see ourselves. Yet, behind the fun filters and endless scrolling lies a serious concern, the impact of social media on teen mental health. Today, I want to persuade you that while this platform can spark creativity and foster community, their constant stream of idealized images and heavy usage often lead to anxiety, depression, and poor self-esteem in adolescents. In this speech, I will show you how viewing perfect Instagram photos affect our confidence, how more than 3 hours of daily use can increase depression symptoms, and why setting clear screen time limits and promoting digital literacy are essential to protect our well-being. Imagine picking up your phone first thing in the morning, opening Instagram and seeing dozens of pictures of friends and influencers living seemingly perfect lives. You notice the flawless skin, the exciting adventures, and the happiness in every frame. Almost without realizing it, you begin to compare your life to theirs. This process, known as upward social comparison, is when we look at others who appear better off and feel worse about ourselves. Researchers have found that many teenagers feel a drop in self-confidence after viewing these idealized or heavily filtered images. When we scroll passively, just watching without liking or commenting, the effect on our mood can be even worse. Beyond self-esteem, extensive research show a clear link between daily social media use and rising depressive symptoms. A systematic review found that adolescents who spend more than 3 hours per day on social media are significantly more likely to report symptoms of depression and anxiety. But why does this happen? Part of the answer lies in how these platforms are designed. Endless feeds of content encourage us to keep scrolling, seeking the next hit of likes or dopamine. When that habit pushes us past 3 hours, our brains start to register more negative feelings, loneliness, envy, or sadness rather than connection. Moreover, cyberbullying and exposure to harmful content can worsen these effects. When hurtful comments appear under our post or when we see violent or disturbing images, our stress levels spike and our mood drops. Another factor is late night usage. Nearly 40% of teens check their apps within minutes of going to bed, and over 1/3 wake up during the night to scroll. Poor sleep quality then feed back into emotional instability, making us more prone to anxiety and depression. When our phones light up on our bedside tables, that buzzer or vibration can pull us from deep sleep, leaving us tired and irritable the next day. Despite these challenges, social media is not inherently bad. It can connect friends, spark creative projects, and offer support groups for teens who feel isolated. The key is balance and awareness. Research suggests that actively engaging, posting, commenting, and interacting can be less harmful than passive browsing. When we share our own thoughts or respond to others, we feel more control and less comparison. Still, even active use becomes risky when we exceed a healthy threshold. So, what can we do? First, we must set clear screen time limits. 3 hours per day is already linked to higher depression risk. Aiming for 1 to 2 hours of purposeful use such as staying in touch with friends or researching a project can help protect our mental health. Parents and educators should work together to create family media plans that establish consistent rules about when and how long teens use social media. For example, no phones at the dinner table or in bedrooms after 9 p.m. Second, we need digital literacy education, understanding how social media algorithms work, the way they show us content they think we want, give us power to make smarter choices. When teens learn to recognize, highlight reels rather than real lives, they begin to question upward comparisons. Schools can introduce short lessons or workshops that teach students to identify edited images, filter bubbles, and online advertising tactics. Third, we must encourage healthy online habits. Instead of doom scrolling when feeling bored or stressed, find alternative activities. Call a friend, read a book, or go for a walk. Schools can support clubs or events that promote face-to-face interactions, such as art sessions, sports, or book swaps. When we give ourselves real-world connections, we rely less on virtual validation. Finally, we should foster open conversations about mental health. If a friend seems withdrawn or anxious after a night of heavy scrolling, reach out. If you feel alone, Talk to a trusted adult or counselor. There is no shame in asking for help, as Calaf and colleagues emphasize. Early intervention and peer support can break the cycle of stress and low mood. In closing, let us remember that education and self-awareness are our best defense against the negative impacts of social media. By setting reasonable screen time limits, learning digital literacy, and choosing meaningful offline activities, we can enjoy the benefits of online platforms without sacrificing our mental health. Our goal is not to abandon social media, but to use it wisely, ensuring that our minds stay healthy and our future remain bright. Thank you for listening.